Before we kick off tonight's episode, we wanted to send our sincerest thoughts, prayers, and condolences to Caleb Farley and his family. Hokie Nation, please join us in lifting up Caleb in the coming days as he processes this tragedy.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, along with my partners, Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, and Shelton Moss. I am Curtis Wilson, and this episode is brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts at the Main Street Pharmacy in Blacksburg, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy located at 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. Place again, I said last week, I'll say it again. I cannot wait to get there just a few weeks from now. How's everybody doing tonight, boys?
Rocking and rolling, man. Rocking and rolling. It's another Tuesday, and we're back live.
Football's here. Time to go.
Week 0.
Can't wait.
Week 0, we've got games on Saturday, whether you think they're worth watching. I think it's of everyone's own discretion, but there are games on Saturday. And as usual, we sit 2 weeks out from, roughly 2 weeks out from the Hokies kicking off. And tonight we are going to have our big season preview episode. We're going to be looking at our predictions. We're going to be taking a look at all the games. We're going to be also breaking down what we feel like are 3 key players for the year. And then we've got to address something, right, boys? We got to address the article that came out last Friday from Andrea Adelson at ESPN. Been a quiet offseason in Blacksburg until that happened.
You know, last week I had mentioned something. There hadn't been any articles of the turkey bacon persuasion, and sure as shit.
Yeah.
A couple days later, this thing hits the feed. I'm like, well, there we are.
That's the way it goes, man. But, Brian, before we get into all that, we got a couple other things we're going to uncover. And tonight we are going to be joined by a special guest. Our friend Grayson Wimbish is now joining us tonight. And he's got a little something he wants to bring to the forefront. Grayson, how you doing this evening, man?
I'm doing great, Curtis. How you doing? Thank you for having me again. It's great to be back pretty much a week later.
Man, it's always good to have you, man. Your takes, just talking with you before we got in here, it's always fun talking to you, man. It really, honest to God, is. But we know you've got something very near and dear to your heart that we're gonna shoot right out the gate. So go ahead and tell us what you got.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to take this time to tell y'all I started this offseason a campaign. It's called Rowdy for Robbie. It goes to benefit the Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation, started by Kim Jones and her husband after their son Jordan passed away from testicular cancer. My buddy Robbie Armbrister, diehard as of a Hokie as you could possibly get, and just he passed away last September as a result of testicular cancer. And so I started this to raise awareness, to raise education. The TCAF, they funnel money into areas where they educate men at the college level about the illness. And this fall in Lot 1, we're going to be selling these wristbands. Where's my camera? It's over there. But it says Rowdy for Robbie. And they're going to be $7. But I made a little video kind of explaining all of this. So, Brian, hit it whenever you're ready, man. Thank you. Hey, friends, family, Hokie fans. My name is Grayson Wimbish, and around this time of year, I would normally be putting out a Virginia Tech football hype trailer, but instead, I decided this year I want to take this time to tell you about my very good friend, Robbie Armbrister. My family met Robbie Armbruster in the fall of 2015 in Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia, in Section 10 as a part of the 2015 reseeding for the year. And upon seeing him for the first time, we were immediately drawn to and amused by this very rowdy, rambunctious Hokie yelling at the ref for missing a pass interference call. As the season went on, he would always be the only one standing up the entire time in Section 10. Mind you, this is a section where there's a lot of old alumni who love to sit down for the entirety of these football games. But he was never afraid to tell someone telling him to sit down, hey, when I'm in Lane Stadium, I'm standing up to cheer on my team. I don't know about you, but that's how I roll. Robbie always held the attitude that despite a 21-point deficit, the Hokies would find a way to pick up the pieces, come back, and leave Lane Stadium with a win. As time went on and more football seasons passed, my brothers, my mother, and father and I always looked forward to seeing Robbie at football games. We became friends on social media. We always shook each other's hands prior to kickoff, talked to each other about the thoughts of the day's football contest, and got ready to cheer on Virginia Tech. Through the wins and losses, Robbie would turn around and yell, "We're going to do it, Wimbish boys, we're going to do it." Whether or not that actually happened, Robbie always believed that the 12th man could pull the Hokies to a victory. One of my favorite memories of Robbie was watching him lose his voice in real time at the 6-overtime UNC game in 2019. Shoulder to shoulder, we watched as Quincy Patterson rushed for the game-winning 2-point conversion. And I, like many other Hokie fans, will never ever forget that evening as long as I live. Whether it was the Tar Heels of North Carolina, the Miami Hurricanes, or somewhere in between, Robbie Armbruster became a staple piece in my family's game day experience, and I always looked forward to seeing my friend whenever I would come home to Blacksburg from Los Angeles. In March of 2022, I found out that Robbie was diagnosed with testicular cancer. When I learned this, I immediately thought to myself, if there's one person I know who would smile in the face of his illness, it would be my friend Robbie. I was confident as ever that he would fight with the courage and the same positive attitude that he was always known and loved for. In September of last year, I traveled home to Blacksburg from LA to watch Virginia Tech take on the Boston College Eagles. And as I walked up the ramp into Section 10, a familiar face stopped me as I started the trek up to my seats. It was Robbie. And as one can imagine, I was ecstatic to see him and was able to give him a big hug and tell him how much he meant to my family and I. And little did I know that this moment would be the last moment I would ever see Robbie in the same place that our friendship started. Less than 3 weeks later, on September 27, 2022, Robbie Armbruster passed away at the age of 31 due to complications from testicular cancer. Over the last month, I've had the honor and the privilege to get to know Robbie's parents, along with some of his closest friends, and talk to them about how much their son and their friend meant to my family and so many others. With the blessing of Robbie's family, I've decided to start Rowdy for Robbie, a campaign to raise awareness for testicular cancer. This fall, these wristbands will be for sale in Lot 1 on several home game days throughout the season. They're going to be $7 cash or Venmo in honor of Robbie's favorite football player to play at Virginia Tech, Michael Vick, and all the proceeds will go to the Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation in an effort to educate young men at the collegiate level about the illness. More details will be released on exactly where they're going to be able to be purchased in the coming weeks. So with this in mind, I do want to take this time to turn it over to Robbie's father, Gary Armbruster, who is going to tell you a little bit more about Robbie's Memorial Fund.
Thank you, Grayson, and thanks for sponsoring the Rowdy for Robbie campaign benefiting testicular cancer awareness. Our son Robbie became a Hokie at a very young age. He was influenced by his granddad Armbruster, me, an aunt, 2 uncles, his brother, and a first cousin who all attended Virginia Tech. On the Hokie Inner Sandman and Let's Go Hokies scales, Robbie ranked near the top. Anyone seeing and hearing Robbie knew he was a true Hokie. One characteristic prevalent in almost every story was his ability to communicate with absolutely everyone he encountered. Robbie never met a stranger, only made new friends who instantly became part of our family. He wanted to know everyone's story, and in each story he found some commonality that bound that person to him and to his family. Robbie exemplified the quote, "Never look down on someone unless you're helping them up." Through all his pursuits, Robbie was a free spirit, uninhibited and carefree, yet intentional in bringing people together. Through his joyful personality, infectious smile, and endearing laugh. In memory of Robbie's giving and caring spirit, and to carry on his legacy, my wife Lisa, Robbie's brother Wes, and I founded the Robbie Armbrister Memorial Family Services Fund last fall following his passing. Robbie's Memorial Fund is a component fund of the Community Foundation of the New River Valley, based in Christiansburg, Virginia. The primary purpose of Robbie's fund is to support children, youth, young adults, and young families with children under the age of 25 that are in crisis or need a hand up, and are located principally in the Virginia counties of Henry and Wythe, the two counties where Robbie spent most of his short life and where he called home. For more information about how you can give to the Robbie Armbrister Memorial Fund, please visit www.cfnrv.org or please visit www.celebraterobbie.love. We hope you will consider a generous donation to Robbie's fund, and also don't forget to buy your Rowdy for Robbie wristband, and let's go Hokies. Back to you, Grayson, and thanks again for all you're doing.
Thank you for that, Gary. It goes without saying that my friend Robbie Armbrister truly embodied in every way what it meant to be a Virginia Tech Hokie. He was humble in defeat, and he was rowdy as ever in victory. And while he is no longer with us here on earth, his spirit lives on in every single Virginia Tech fan across Hokie Nation. So with the 2023 football season upon us, I plan on honoring my friend this year and always by joining the fight against testicular cancer and always being rowdy for Robbie. Go Hokies.
Grayson, what a great tribute, definitely, to Robbie there. Sorry, man. That makes you just think a lot more about everything in your life. So, great tribute. I love what you're doing in this, and let's educate us a little bit more. I put the cfnrv.org website in all the comments here. So if you folks want to take a look at that while you're listening, please do so. But where in Lot 1 can we go buy these things when we all head down this year?
Yes. So the exact spot number we're going to drop next week. But it's right now we're trying to find a time slot. I am not coming home for any Virginia Tech football game this season, so I will not physically be there. I wish I could be, but I cannot. So it's going to be my parents and then Mr. and Mrs. Armbrister. They're going to be there hanging out. There's going to be a Venmo tab with Rowdy for Robbie on it. And so we've got an account set up. And then we're also going to we're going to accept cash as well. And literally every single dime of this, like I said, is going to TCAF, Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation, in an effort to educate men at the college level about testicular cancer, how to properly check themselves, I know when I was in college, being a young man, like you kind of get the feeling every now and again that you're invincible, and you just don't take these things maybe as seriously as you should. And I kind of wish back then even someone had told me about this or educated me on it. But Robbie was the man. Y'all would have loved him. Had a smile that could brighten up any room, and I just know that he's going to love this. So, shout out to a great friend and a great Hokie.
Yeah, just seeing the photos and hearing everybody talk about it, sounds like he had a huge personality.
Oh yeah,
fun to be around, and brought his own juice everywhere he went.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I'll just never ever forget watching that 6 overtime game, and every time the overtimes would switch back and forth, just hands on his head, like, can't believe we're doing this right now. Can't believe we're doing this right now. It's like, but he would look back up to my family. He's like,
we're still here.
We're still here. But, and then, like I said in the video, when I got to see him last year at Boston College, I'm glad I was able to have that interaction. I didn't even think he was in town. But I love his folks. His folks are great people. They'll be at a few games this fall. And our goal is to get his picture in the Rowdy for Robbie banner on the Jumbotron at Lane Stadium for a game. We are actively working on that. So if anyone has anyone who might be able to help with that, I'm working to pull some strings, but if anyone knows anyone, see if we can make that happen. So
that's awesome. Awesome.
I'm sure there's someone out there between all the people you have made friends with over all these years, Grayson, that it will happen. And Grayson, well, I'll ask this before we go to the next thing. Please send us text, DM, whatever, just letting us know where it's going to be week to week. We will make sure every week we will say where that is. I really hope they're at the Purdue game, because all four of these guys will walk there. We will find it. We will. I know I'll throw my $7.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely. And yeah, that was like 7. He loved Michael Vick. That was his favorite player, but he was also a nasty soccer player, and he wore 7. I found this out from his dad as well. So,
nice.
Some MB7 inspiration there.
A
man after my own heart. Shout out to Michael Vick.
Right, again, look for that out at Lane Stadium in Lot 1. Rowdy for Robbie. Grayson, you're staying with us tonight because you're going to preview just like we are. But before we actually get to, we're going to go to the article. But Mr. Siegel, I'm going to give you the floor, man. Some news was broken this week that I know you have to discuss about your former head coach down in Hampton City.
Yeah, I wanted to say a big time congratulations to my former head coach at Hampton City, Marty Favret. He announced this week that he will be retiring at the end of the 2023 season. This is a big announcement. He has been there since 1999, 5 ODAC championships in that time, 6 Division III football championship playoff appearances, and 18 of the 23 seasons he's coached so far, he's had a 500 or better record. During my time there, we lost 3 games. This guy is a legend at Hampton Sydney. It's not really any sort of question about the all-time GOAT in terms of football head coaches at Hampton Sydney. Marty Favret stands alone. And just want to say congratulations, and we'll definitely be thinking about you this year. And I know right now, thinking about practice today, he definitely said run it again probably at least 10 times. And he probably said we look like a fucking clown show at another 5 or 6. So I'm excited to see what the outcome is going to be for this team in this final season. But congrats, coach, and thank you for everything.
Very well said, Siegel. And something that y'all ever want to pick Siegel's brain when we're down in Blacksburg on football in general. Concepts they were running 20 years ago at the D3 level is things that have leaked into D1 level games. I can remember going watching it, and I remember that wasn't what I was seeing on my screen when I went back to Longwood. Like, what is this? 15 years later, it's a commonality place to see some of the stuff y'all were doing back then.
And coming from a power I formation, straight run and some deep shots in high school, and then going to a pretty innovative offense in college was a big step. But I mean, I loved every second of it. And, it took the ODAC 15 to 20 years to catch up to what Marty was doing back in 99 and 2000. So that tells you a whole lot right there.
You said Hampton Sydney, right?
Yeah.
Is it all male college?
It is, yeah.
Well, hell, he didn't have much to get you motivated. And you go in, go win. We'll let you go talk to the girls.
Tally, we need to get you down there on the weekend, and you'll see a little bit of a different situation.
Longwood College. That's where all the girls are over there.
They come in from everywhere.
Longwood, they bust them in from Hollins. They bust them in from Sweetbriar. They bust them in from everywhere, man.
He went to college in the early 1900s. It wasn't no Tinder and Twitter and all that. It was like, you are here to play football. And if you win, we may let you look at a woman.
I will say, when I first got there, we were still doing 3-a-days, man. So it was a full day of football. It was a full day of football.
Well, that's awesome, though, man. Congratulations to your coach on a successful career. I'm sure he's touched a lot of young men.
Yeah, he's going to get there with his grandkids now and get to spend a lot more time with them going forward.
That's awesome.
So, all right.
Big congrats to him.
Well, let's flip it, boys. Let's start talking some Hokie ball. We got a lot of things to cover tonight, but before we start anything off, we've got to talk about the article dropped last Friday, 7 a.m. sharp by Andrea Adelson at ESPN. And I'm going to just open the floor. What shocked y'all? What didn't?
Let me lead off here. I wasn't shocked by a lot of what I saw. I'll tell you what I was shocked about. I think some of the details of kind of the bigger parts of the story. So, like, hearing about some of the air conditioning situations that were going on with players that they were getting on campus. Hearing some of the details of the internal kerfluffles between John Boleyn and Justin Fuente. Some of the little angles here or there, and that's what shocked me. Some of the little details, the big picture of what the article said and kind of what was going on. I wasn't really that shocked because, I mean, we've talked about it before in various different venues of it's not just a on the field problem. There's a lot going on off the field from an administrative standpoint, from an organizational standpoint that we need to improve. That's getting held back in some ways. I think we kind of have a good idea of where that may lie at this point. So that's my take. Like I said, I'm not super shocked, but definitely it's good to kind of color in some of the gaps there for sure.
I want to tell you the one thing I was like, we had heard so many of these stories. The only thing that kind of shocked me was the whole thing about the equipment. Like, they needed to basically the coaches to buy them gloves. I'm assuming there was some padding, there were some other things. And it's like, it's a Division I football program. That shit should not be happening. Clearly now things have been self-corrected. Things are going in the right direction. But for the longest time, Tally, this was before you joined us, we said mom and pop. We were running shit like a mom and pop. And now clearly things have really shifted really in the last probably 3 years more than anything. But that's the one thing that did shock me. Tally, what do you think?
Yeah, kind of the same. Like you said, it's you want to be big time football, but you're running it like a mom and pop. I mean, you can't do that, Talking about redoing a locker room and keeping the same weights. Weights weigh the same,
All right.
Having stuff like that come out is funny to me because I'm a goofball, but it's just like people with money know how to keep their money, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But you got to spend the money. You got to spend money to make money, essentially.
Right.
So,
Grayson. Well, I'm saying Grayson's got that in his tagline there.
Oh,
wait.
I didn't even see that.
I just thought that was so funny. Well, yeah, we can talk about that later, I guess. But remember last week, gentlemen, on the preview panel, I gave our offseason an A-. I think it got bumped down to a B+ with this article. Here's my thing. I don't think anything like this article surprises me anymore. But in case, maybe the only thing that does is just the timing of it. Like, everything was going so great, and then all of a sudden it's bomb. Like, just the article comes out of nowhere. So I try and not waste too much headspace thinking about it, or the former regime, especially. They're gone. We've torn them up, down, sideways, across the board. And Coach Pry's the guy now. So Hokie should be focused on that.
There you go. Sheldon, what you got?
Yeah, a few things to say about this. First of all, I was not shocked at anything in the article, mainly because I had talked to a lot of people that confirmed pretty much everything that was said in there. To reiterate the point about VT being run like a mom and pop show, a few things. We were the last program in America, the last Power 5 football program to have a huddle account. For perspective, that is like a baseball team not having a radar gun to evaluate pitchers. In 2019, we had 2 full-time recruiting staffers. By some metrics, our support staff was the worst in the Power 5, even worse than UVA. Before the dining hall was opened, the nutrition center in 2021, I believe, our players are mainly fed fast food catering after practice. So that included Jimmy John subs, Domino's Pizza. I know someone who had to go buy Khalil Herbert cookout every single week because he was not getting enough food. So that kind of contextualizes, what we were dealing with back during the 2010s. Obviously, Fuente failed for a variety of reasons, which we have discussed ad nauseum. But I do think this article is very important in contextualizing, why Virginia Tech struggled and the lack of emphasis on those sort of ancillary functions that go into having a successful Power 5 football program. As far as why the article was released this week, Andrea Adelson said in a tweet that she spent 20 months writing it because she wanted to interview as many people as possible and be as thorough as possible. In my opinion, that's good journalism. I know that the timing is a little bit awkward, but I can understand from her perspective why she felt the need to make sure that everything was properly vetted and as accurate as possible. So that's that. Obviously, we've moved on. I think we're in a much better spot now. But I do think it was a very necessary article so that people could see the truth about what the Virginia Tech football program was dealing with. Yeah,
great point, Shelton. Thank you for bringing all that up. And obviously, Shelton being down there plugged in even more so to the situation. The other things that came out was the stuff about John Boleyn, who's currently part of the administrative staff. Nothing really shocked me there either, because it's when a guy has been in a position that long, you can see struggles like that happen. You can see a new coach coming in and, I'm going to do it this way. Well, I want to do it this way. And there's going to be butting of heads. Anyone that ever has worked in a corporate structure or in any sort of management or with any sort of thing like that, that happens. I guarantee you all 5 of us in our different career paths has seen that happen. So there were some bombshells. And, the one thing that still catch me, and I've got the article up here and I'm looking at it, it was they always would ask how Frank would want to do things. But they never asked it, how would Justin want to do things? And I feel like that is something that I don't think happens anymore. Because I got a feeling in that building right now, hey, we're about to do this with the logo. What's Coach Pry think about it? Y'all better go down to that office and tell him what you're about to do. Because I don't think that shit flies anymore.
Yeah, and
always hard to be the man after the man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to be the man after the man. And I'll say this: I think Pry came in and he not only brought in guys that could help him on the recruiting front to build that recruiting roster up, but the other thing he did, he put guys like Mike Hazel and Mike Villagrana between him and some of the administration. So he's got guys that are sounding boards on various football related topics that he trusts, that trust him, that are a buffer between him and maybe in this case a John Boleyn, to kind of keep the program running in the direction that I think he wants to steer it. That's kind of the thing that I think didn't happen, is that, we know that Boleyn was very trusted when Frank was coaching, and we know that he got put in a position very close to Justin Fuente during the transition. And it seems like everything that Beamer did was the 100% right way. And if it wasn't that, there was going to be some sandbagging. And, that makes your job all the harder. And, when we look at that, it's like, we got to move past Beamer. We still got to respect our legacy, but we've got to move past, well, Beamer did it this way, so that's the right way to do it. Like there's got to be some sort of cutoff there, and I think that didn't happen, especially during that transition.
Sheldon, I get your mute off, so I have a feeling you want to say something here.
Yeah, nothing too much. I mean, like I said, Belen's been there for a long time. Obviously, I haven't met the guy, so I'm not going to make any, personal comments. But he does have a very fierce loyalty to Beamer. Obviously, he's been with him forever. And so I think he was more of the mindset that, well, this is the way we've done it in the past, and it worked. But obviously, that's not the way it works anymore. And look, the reality is, if you are not investing and trying to keep up with the times, you are falling behind. And that's just what happened to Virginia Tech in the 2010s. It happens. It doesn't mean that everyone in the administration is, dumb or terrible or an idiot. It's just the nature of life. You fall behind, other teams catch up, and now we have to play catch up right now. So it's just a circle of life. I think, like I said, VT's in a much better spot, so we can acknowledge that there has been some progress made.
To Shelton's point, and again, I love what Shelton said in the sense of, it's not my place to come on to this podcast and bash anyone that I've never met or speak on things behind the walls of Merriman that I don't know about. John Belen's been around the program 4 years, ever since I was probably 3 years old or whenever he jumped on board. I think in the case of John Belen, you have to evolve with the game, and he's had so many roles within the athletic department where it doesn't seem like maybe there's been an effort made even a little bit to do that. So maybe that's where the frustration comes. Well, not maybe. That's where the frustration comes from a lot of Virginia Tech fans. And I don't want to word this the wrong way, but you can't have stains on a program that is trying to grow and is trying to better itself. Mm-hmm. So when people need a fall guy, always someone to point the finger and say it's that one person's fault. And you could point the finger at him, but I don't think that'd be fair. The game is evolving and we got to keep up. So however that happens, it's just got to happen.
100%. And that's the thing. And you just said it, like passing out the blame. It's a little bit on everyone. You can't say it's all him or it's all him or it's all them. It's all them. Everyone had a little bit to do with it. And I think what's happened in Shelton, you've made it, and Shelton keeps going back to it. Shelton's looking forward. It looks like the corrections are being made. That's the more important part. Because if this article was coming out and some of the things that we know that are going on right now, like the nutrition center being built, like the dorms being built, like the changes to obviously the support staff, then it would be a bigger issue, right?
What about the new weights?
Go ahead, Grayson.
Here's my honest question to Whit Babcock. I hope he's listening. Why would you spend hundreds of millions of dollars to upgrade facilities at large and not finish the job with the weights? Like, how much are those weights collectively? They can't be over $100,000. Could they? In that ballpark, roughly? Maybe. It's like, if you're spending that much money, just finish it. Take it all the way. That's all I have to say. And the quote is just funny. Just hearing the fact that Whit said that weights weigh the same. He's not wrong, but but come on.
He kind of wrong.
Yeah, he's kind of wrong.
I mean, if y'all want me to go into it, I don't look like I lifted weights.
Tally, let it go. Let it ride, man. Let it ride. Tell us what you got.
So people who lift weights, free weights most of the time, they're gonna take hits, drop, fall, chips are gonna happen. So in a sense, we worked with rubber weights as well. People would cut them, do different things. So old weights, if it's a 25-pound weight and it's been there for 25 years, it may not be 25 pounds anymore.
22 and a half.
It may be 22 and a half, which is different. So weights don't weigh the same.
I will piggyback on that real quick. I'll let you finish, Tally. But when we used to lift, we do wrist strengthening stuff, and we'd have to grab plates, and we'd have a clock on us, and we'd have to hold the plates for however long. You'd always find the ones that were newer, because you could get your fingertips underneath them bitches a lot better than the ones that were older, that had worn down a little bit. they were a little slicker, they
Yeah.
might slip out your hands, in the middle of that clock, and then you have to do some up downs or, a couple extra gassers or something like that. So you got to find the weights that are new.
Yeah, man, it is. It's crazy, but I mean, for me, just to finish off the talk about the article, it wasn't. I mean, I guess I talk a lot or I listen a lot, so I've talked to a lot of people, and like Shelton said, I mean, it's a lot of this stuff that was already kind of known. Yeah, it was like the timing of it kind of threw me off a little bit because it's like I'm getting ready for the game. I'm ready to see some football, and then you see something like that. But it's like most of the stuff in there, it had already been said and it had already been known. So,
yep. I like what we got here. Dwight saying, just a heads up, not hearsay. Even Bud admitted Fuentes' changes were warranted and the program had gotten stale. And I'm going to leave it at this, y'all. And I said it before, and I think we all it's a lot of blame to go around how far we fell behind. And for years, like 2004, when we were the third highest salary in the country, it's time to get back there. Yep. So let's drop that where it is right there, because now we get to talk about the upcoming season, the 2023 Hokie football season. And we're going to do a little something different tonight. All five of us have picked on each side of the ball 3 gentlemen that we feel are going to be key players for the year of 2023. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to go through each room. If we have a player that we feel, we're going to name who they are. And we're going to discuss why we feel, in our own personal opinion, it is that way. So we're going to start on defense, and we're going to start in the linebacker room. And the name that appeared more than one time was Kali Lawson. Tally, you put him as one of yours. Why'd you put him, man?
Hey, look at him. You know what I'm saying? Y'all seen pictures of him?
Oh, we seen him. We seen him.
And he got named to the freaks list.
I mean, let him get off the bus first. We need to. One of the knocks that I've always had for Virginia Tech, going and watch them play, I would go to Atlanta and watch us play Georgia Tech, which is, a team that's very similar to us now. We might not want to admit it, but they are. We were always so much smaller than everybody that I went and watched us play. Sometimes we had some heart and we played hard, but like just physically, Tremaine Edmonds he looked totally different than anybody else on the field. I get it. He is a freak too. But, we only have a couple of players that looked the part. So I think that we're getting back to actually having a Power 5 looking football team, which I'm very glad about. But Lawson's just one of those guys where he looks the part. And he's also athletic enough where he can do some things different at that linebacker position. He can cover. We've seen him make the tip pass, interception last year. Not only that, return it for a touchdown. We got to see some stuff like that out of our linebacker room to just have us competing. So that's why I'm thinking him. I think he's going to have a good year this year.
Sheldon, you were another one that texted me, Kali Lawson. Why is he on your radar as one of the key players?
Yeah, like Tyler said, he's just a physical freak. It kind of reminds me, I know it's a different position, but Divine Diablo back a few years ago at safety, people would always say, man, that dude is a specimen. I would say the same about Kali Lawson, just long, athletic, long arms. I mean, that's exactly what you want. I know, for him, obviously he's got a lot of work to do. The grades last season were, left a lot to be desired, but he's still learning. I think for me, he's got the highest ceiling by far in this linebacker room because of his physical attributes. So I'm really excited to see how he develops.
Yep, this was one of mine as well, folks. Was Kali Lawson, and I kind of look back. Tally mentioned that Georgia Tech game. Really, the last 3 games of the season, because the first half of the season he wasn't playing much. He was getting spots here and there, doing some special teams. But in the last 3 games of the season, 16 total tackles. 3 tackles for loss, a sack, an interception, a fumble recovery. You do the math in 3 games and do that over the course of 4, it's right at 70 tackles. I'm not going to say the other pieces are going to come, but it was that maturation where Brent Pry and Chris Marr felt comfortable enough to basically start playing him significantly more at will. And when he got that, and he started putting the results out on the field. Now, Mr. Siegler, you did not say Mr. Lawson, but you did have somebody in the linebacker room and something else you want to tell the folks out there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, while we got your little captive audience here, we're giving 3 on each side of the ball. if y'all want to throw 3 in there, let us know. We'll try to get those on there and talk about them a little bit, especially if we got one on there that's maybe a little different than what we're talking about. But the guy I'm going with is Jaden Keller, because we've got a big hole there at Mike linebacker. Both of the linebackers that saw the most significant time are no longer with the program in 2023. Jaden Keller has a big opportunity to really step in there because his athleticism is significantly higher than anything we saw at the Mike linebacker position last year. If he can get the mental part and that translates and he can step into that role and be the guy that is the quarterback of the defense, that's going to significantly change the trajectory of the linebacker room, just like if Lawson takes that next step and becomes that freak that everyone's talking about. If Keller can be that solid role in the middle of that defense, but also elevate the athleticism at that Mike linebacker position, that's going to be a big boost for that defense.
All righty. So there are one of our threes. Now, y'all didn't hear Grayson. Grayson didn't have anybody in the linebacker room. And I think you're going to see why in the next room, because we're moving over to the defensive line. And the big vote getter here was Antoine Powell-Ryland. Brian, I'll let you lead off on this one, man. I know I just asked you to talk, but he was your second of 3.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more. This guy has already flashed. We've already seen the highlight tapes coming from fall camp of him putting spin moves on guys, him, a little bit of a bull rush, a little bit of a little speed rush. I mean, he's got some different moves there already in his skill set. And he's a big guy coming in. He's already ready to kind of play against the ACC competition. He fared well against SEC competition. You would think that's going to translate pretty good for him, especially in a full-time role, hand in the dirt most of the time. I'm looking forward to see what he can do because it feels like this could be the first kind of big pass rusher that we've seen in a while where we can maybe get to double-digit sacks with one individual. So I think we said last week Kenna Canham was the last one to hit that 10 mark. So it would be nice to see that 10 mark hit by Powell-Ryland this year if he can kind of get up to speed, because definitely a freak for sure.
All right, Tally, this was your number 2.
Yeah, well, one reason, I guess, to start, just off the field, him being a guy that, Tech missed, being a Virginia guy, Tech missed him at first. He goes to Florida, possibly because of the last regime, possibly because of recruiting, maybe because of where the program was at the time. Doesn't really matter. Shows how important the transfer portal is. You got to keep those relationships open, because we double back and we get him when he leaves Florida. Now he's coming back home, and his families will be able to come to more games because it's closer to home for him. Then you also have him just on the field making plays. I think he had like 30 tackles last year in a limited role, 3 sacks. It's been a long time since we've had just a defensive end that offenses had to prepare for, And when I say prepare for, you got to run some double teams. You got to put a tight end in the box. You got to have a running back there. Like when you have a defensive end that can create havoc and do some things like that, it frees other people up. It frees your linebackers up. It frees your other defensive end up. So we need the person on the other side to step up. But it all starts with what he can do. And I think that with him, coming in and having a bigger role for us, I think he's going to have a good year. And it's going to, like I said, free up a lot of things for us, as well as that DB role.
All right, Grayson, this was your first of 3.
Yep.
Mr. APR.
I think he's going to have a great year, Tally. 6'3", 242 pounds, product of Indian River High School. Many Hokies will remember Devin Hunter actually went to Indian River High School in Portsmouth, Virginia. Used to be at Florida. And everything that I've seen, all the tape I've seen from practice, the small amount that does exist on APR, I mean, it's really hard to not get excited about this kid. He's only a junior at Virginia Tech, so he's got a couple years of eligibility left. And I'm just ready to have playmakers at a lot of positions on our defense, and we got them. We got a lot of young guys, which is very, very exciting as well. So really, really fired up about APR. Welcome to Blacksburg. Let's do some damage.
Welcome to Blacksburg, Indian River. You mentioned Devon there. Don't forget Brandon Orr High School as well, way back in the day. All right, let me flip over to Shelton, because Shelton, we stand on the defensive line, but you are moving inside for your next guy.
Yes, that's right. So I went with Mario Kendricks, interior lineman. I just felt like he was really productive most of the last season. Playing the stats last year, so he had 24 total QB pressures. And I think, when you look at the defensive line this year in the ACC, Kobe Turner is gone. Cansey from Pittsburgh is gone. I think he has a chance to be a top 5, 6, 7 pass rusher in the conference. And he's a big, run stuffing type of guy. I think he's going to be a pretty big part of this D line. You throw Pal in there as well. I mean, I'm expecting pretty big things.
All right, big things from Mario Kendricks. One of the higher graded PFS last year. I think you've mentioned that a few times, Shelton, to us. All right, Grayson, I'm going to flip back to you and give you the floor, because you are staying on the interior, and you've got a pretty big name that you wonder what you're going to see from.
Well, there's not a lot of, numbers on this young man, but Gunnar Givens, I am ecstatic to see him contribute to this defense this season. Gunnar Givens, 6'5", 287 pounds, product of Lord Botetourt High School down there in Roanoke, Salem, the surrounding areas. Gunnar had a lot of hype coming into Blacksburg, 4-star kid. And, that was a big deal when he committed to Virginia Tech, stayed home. So I want to see what he can do. That's pretty much it. I just want to see what he can do. There's not a lot on him. So how much will he contribute early on and then into the season?
Yeah, if anything with the interior line, at least one of the two younger guys like Gunnar need to at least start getting reps, because it is going to be Kendricks obviously gone next year with Pollard. All right, I got one in this room. This is my second of 3. And I'm going to go on the other side of the defensive line, and I'm going to go Cole Nelson. Cole Nelson, obviously 3-star out of Georgia, 6'3", about 248 pounds. He's gained some weight since he's been here. We saw him play last year. And the reason I'm putting him last year, 5.5 tackles for loss, 24 tackles in general, 2 sacks. But whoever is on the opposite end of APR has to make the other team pay. And whether it's him, and I put Cole because I saw Cole on tape last year do some good things. I know we're here in Burgos, but whoever on that end, they have to make the other team pay. Because once you start making that other team pay, there is nowhere else you can do. You're not going to take Brian, tell me, are you going to really take the tight end chipping off the left side?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can't max protect. You can't max protect every pass play. You're not chipping with the tight end and chipping with a running back. You're eventually going to have to figure something else out.
So that's why I say Cole, because I think we've seen the most. And then it goes back to Shelton's point too with Kendricks and Grayson, your guy Gunnar. If outside pressure is happening, everything's going to open up.
Yep.
Everything's going to open up for this defense.
Yep.
All right.
When you talk about what we're talking about with defensive linemen, it takes us to our next group. Even if you're not getting sacks, even if you're not getting home, if you're there with your hands up or you're causing pressure on the quarterback, guess who that helps? That helps your defense. That helps your secondary. So go ahead. I know we're going to that next.
Yeah, we're going to secondary next. And Sheldon, we're going to let you kick this one off with because believe it or not, y'all, somehow 5 Hokie fans have 5 different names for the secondary room.
We want it to be difficult today.
We want to be difficult, but it also says how good the secondary room is. Sheldon, who's your guy?
Yes, my guy is Dorian Strong. I chose Dorian because I feel like he's almost kind of a diamond in the rough. He was a guy that came in freshman year, 2020, the COVID year, had a really good season, all things considered. Regressed a little bit in 2021. Obviously, last year was injured for the majority of the year. He did play well while he was playing. But I feel like, whenever you have a guy come in and play well as a freshman, it's kind of like, okay, this guy's a star. with Dorian, he just hasn't really had that opportunity to show it because of his injuries and regression. I really think he has a chance for a breakout year. He's also playing opposite Mansour Delane, who is obviously a stud, as we have previously noted. Virginia Tech's coverage was fantastic last year. I believe they finished 11th best nationally in passing success rate allowed, and that was largely because of their cornerbacks. So you put Mansour Delane in there with Keontae Jenkins. I think Dorian Strong is going to have a bounce back year. I think he's going to have a really, really good season.
That sounds good. Callie, you stayed at corner, man.
Yeah, well, I wanted to pick Dorian Strong, but I can't get past his jersey number. That 44 is still killing me. I can never pick a person with that. Dorian, hey man, you need a different number. I think
get you some single digits.
You need to get a single digit number or something. But anyway, so for me, it was Canteen because, of course, we're all hype about the season. So you're picking up every, bit that you can. You're picking up every video that you can. And I've seen Canteen flash. He had a pick in the spring game. And then I'm hearing other players talk about his leadership. I'm hearing them say he's a first guy in, last guy out. I mean, what you having a young defensive back room like we have, we know we have some studs coming up. We know Delane is going to be a stud, but he's still a younger guy. Canteen coming in and having that mentality of I'm here to work, and people seeing that as soon as he got there just has me excited for him because he has the ability. We've seen him on the field, at his last school, but him having that mentality is more of what's got me excited about him, of just being there to work, because it's going to be competition with all those good defensive backs in there. And again, I think he's going to make some plays on the field as well.
That sounds like a plan. So let me just do this real quick here. Dorian Strong, freshman All-American. Derek Canteen, freshman All-American. Grayson, can you hit the trifecta for me?
Mansour Delane, it's written in the stars. I mean, speaking of single-digit numbers, God, he got out of that 23. He joins a long line of studs at Virginia Tech to wear number 4. David Wilson, Eddie Royal, D'Angelo Hall, Dax Hollifield, Andre Kendricks. Who else? Who am I missing? Eddie Royal. Did I say that already?
You did say Eddie.
Yeah. Either way, but Delane we know this kid's a baller. 38 tackles, 17 solo in 2022, 1.5 tackles for loss. What can you not say about Delane? Just had a breakout freshman season. He was a highlight in a season full of, no offense, kind of low lights. You win 3 games. It was a hard first season, but we knew it was coming. So I think this kid, bare minimum, all ACC, just an absolute stud. Really, really excited to see him flourish in his second year out.
And he did all of that with no offseason and stuff, right? Like he didn't enroll early or anything like that. He just came in and started playing.
True freshman.
Nothing.
Yep.
So that's crazy. I seen him on a maybe media day or something like that, and his arms look jacked. Like he looks like he's been in the weight room. And those weights probably weighed the same as well.
Those weights were the new weights that were bought. Okay. They were the new weights.
They weigh a little bit more, but they've got
weigh
grip.
the right amount. All right, Siegler, me and you, we're moving to the back end because I said we all had 5 different ones. Siegler, who's your guy on the back end?
Man, I went a little sideways on this one, but I got some reasons here. So I went Jalen Jones. He's switching sides of the ball. We got some good front line safeties on that side of the ball, but with a lot of experience. You got, the guy, somebody I think Curtis is going to talk about next, stepping into a big role there. But I feel like we're going to need 1 or 2 more guys to round out that room. Jalen Jones coming along, and we've heard some things, from the coaches, from the players talking him up, what he's done so far in fall camp, what he did kind of towards the end of spring there with that position switch. If he can step into a big role where he's a solid rotational safety for this team, that's going to pay dividends because we're going to need that type of depth on the back end to hold up. Because one of the big things we saw last year it wasn't just that our front end talent wasn't where it needed to be. It was that our depth in the secondary would show its head in the late third and early fourth quarter. And games that we were hanging around in all of a sudden became blowouts. Games that we had the lead in would suddenly go the other direction. Having guys that can step in and play those key depth positions in the secondary is going to be big for this team. And I feel like Jalen Jones is going to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's got to be somebody else on the back end because you mentioned Jalen. He's probably looking at playing a strong safety position. I went with the free safety, and I went with the legacy in Jalen Stroman. Last year, he was pressed into duty to play free safety, and effectively we could not find a nickel and were forced to move Jamari back down to play nickel. He stepped in, 43 tackles, 2 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles. As a redshirt freshman, he only played 4 games his first year. And then I think if everybody can go back to the spring game and the interception he made on drones. We talked about that play. We've talked about it numerous times. Special players make that play. Special players make that play. And I think with the legacy of how Big Brother played here, I think he's going to be something. I think we better hold on because it might be one of those things. He could have that type of all ACC season where he ain't here next year.
Don't forget Dwight has tabbed him. That's Dwight's guy from the beginning.
Yep.
Dwight said he don't miss often, so because I've known him, I don't think he's missed on the guy he's told me about. So
every time
he's not going to put you on a pedestal if he doesn't know you the real deal.
That's the truth. All right, so tail of the tape here. We got Tally with Kalai Lawson, APR, and Derek Canteen. We got Sheldon with Kalai Lawson, Mario Kendricks, and Dorian Strong. Brian's got Jaden Keller, APR, and Jalen Jones. Our buddy Grayson here. We got APR, Gunnar Givens, and Mansour Delane. And I'm rolling with Kalai Lawson, Cole Nelson, and Jalen Stroman. Real quick, don't go into any detail on it. Who's the one player from the defensive side of the ball that you left off? Go Shelton. One player.
Delane.
Grayson?
Can we say repeats? I mean, or does it matter?
No. Who was your fourth guy? Who was right there, but you didn't put him in?
Definitely Lawson. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tally?
I'd say Pollard.
Okay, that's a different one. Brian?
Lawson. I think the linebackers are going to be the thing that makes the difference this year. I think the D-line is going to step up. That's going to help the secondary. The difference is going to be in the linebacker room. If they can make significant jumps, we're going to be a good team.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. Mine on the cutting room floor was Keller. Like it was Keller because like what Brian made. Because if Keller takes a step, I'm reliving 2007 again, baby. Vince Hall and Xavier TV. If those two guys pop. All right, let's flip over to the offensive side of the room here. And again, we're going to do the same way. We'll start out here with the wide receiver room and someone who got 2 votes, Jalen Lane. And Brian, you were one of the first ones. Why do you think Jalen?
I think Jalen, I mean, we said it on the panel last week. He was kind of my big guy to keep an eye on. And he remains that for me because I feel like Ollie Jennings is going to cook outside, but looking at last year's offense, what was missing significantly was short and intermediate passes, especially between the numbers and between the hashes. If we can work the middle of the field a whole lot better this year, that's going to open things up for everybody else. Jalen Lane has game-breaking type speed, but he's also quick. He can move kind of inside those numbers with those different route trees that you're going to run from the slot position. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do and take advantage of the interior of some of these defenses that we didn't really exploit much last year.
All right. Shelton, you've also got him on here. And I know you probably went data diving for what you found out from him. Why is Jalen one of your top guys for the offensive side?
Yeah, it was actually more of a hunch. I feel like we kind of know what we're getting in Jennings, but I feel like Lane was almost like an X factor. Just looking at some of the stats, passer rating when targeted, really, really good. Overall grades, really, really good. He's also very good in yards after the catch, which we saw in that touchdown against Miami he had. So I feel like he's got some breakaway speed. I think also smaller but certainly an important thing. Very good hands grade on PFF. So he does not drop a lot of passes, which we may discuss was a very, very big problem for Virginia Tech last year. Wide receivers dropping passes. I think Tech was maybe 5th worst Power 5 in drop rate. So yeah, that's got to change. But I think Lane's got some pretty steady hands.
All righty. Well, we're going to stay in the wide receiver room. We got a couple more players, and Tally, you've got one of those players. Who is your first offensive key player?
Mr. Quan Felton, man.
The Avatar.
It's kind of like what Sheldon said. I mean, when you think about an X factor, I don't like to compare players a lot of times because I feel like it sets them up to be something that they probably aren't themselves. But I feel like just how I felt about Hazelton, Damon Hazelton, when he came from a lower school. It wasn't a lot of stuff out there on him that I really paid attention to. I've looked at a lot of highlights about Alec Jennings, which we all kind of know of him. Looked at a lot of highlights of Jalen Lane, but you don't find a lot of highlights about Felton on that. I've seen some, but there's not a whole bunch of them out there on him. He came from a smaller school, but he just has that look to him, man. He looks like he is just, kind of different. It looks like he's prepared to do some things. And I mean, he's 6'5", 205 pounds, 210 pounds. I seen him catch a ball in the spring game, and whoever came downhill and popped him laid a good lick on him, and he fell forward 5 yards. I mean, if you can get a wide receiver that catches the ball for 5 yards and falls forward for 5 yards, that's 10 yards. So we do need those possession type receivers. And I think that Caleb Smith last year would have been great in the role that I think Felton should be in this year. But we had him being Mr. Everything at wide receiver because we had nobody else to stretch the field or catch the ball. So Felton is my guy, man. Go watch. If y'all haven't, go watch him. Go watch him. Probably one of the only times you'll see him speak to the media, and he looks like he is crazy as can be, which is in a good way, not in a bad way. It's like he has no nonsense. It's like that man don't want to smile. He just want to play.
He just wants to play. Grayson, you also picked one in the wide receiver room, and who's your guy?
Yes, Mr. Alec Jennings, probably one of the most hyped ACC receivers going into the 2023 football season. Transferred from Old Dominion University, who ironically we opened the season against in Lane Stadium, 8 p.m. Eastern, but who's counting? He was all Sun Belt first team. He led the Monarchs last season with 54 receptions for 959 yards and 9 touchdowns. He's a hell of a receiver, and it will be very interesting to see how he fits into Coach Bowen's scheme. But I cannot wait to see this kid in a Virginia Tech uniform, and I hope he scores the first touchdown against Old Dominion.
That'd be awesome.
Poetic justice.
That would be poetic justice. And a kid who probably should have been recruited here a long time ago finally makes his way home. And like you said, the thing about all three of the guys y'all mentioned, they all did it elsewhere. Even Felton down at Norfolk State in his first season last year had like 600 yards. Obviously, Lane and Jennings, like you just mentioned, Grayson, all Sun Belt. He's already a part of a lot of all teams for this year. All right, let's hit to the running back room because popular selection. Sheldon, take it away.
We have Bayshal Tutin, the running back transfer from FCS North Carolina A&T. I think people might be sleeping on him. I think that he has a couple of really good qualities. First of all, he's got great breakaway speed. His breakaway numbers at the FCS level were really good. And he's really hard to tackle. Yards after contact numbers also very good. I know that some people might say, well, it's just FCS, but those qualities, being able to generate yards after contact, actually translate really well at the next level. So I wouldn't have too much of a concern about that. I think he is a bona fide Power 5 talent, and I'm really excited to see him in this offense because Tech struggled with many things last year offensively, but chief among them was lack of explosive plays from the running backs.
Tally, he's one of your guys too, man.
Yeah, well, I think what a lot of people forget is that when we did get him, we stole him from Boston College. He was supposed to be going to Boston College, I believe, and supposed to be on campus, and somehow he winds up at Virginia Tech. If anything, if you don't know anything about Boston College, go look at their running backs. They recruit certain types of running backs, and if they wanted him, I want him. And then after seeing him now and seeing a little bit of tape of him, looks like he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Like Shelton said, he's got some good breakaway speed. He breaks tackles. I mean, he just looks like a complete running back. And I think that's going to be good for us to have, some different types of backs. Instead of having 14 backs that all maybe done one thing, I think now we have 3 to 4 running backs that kind of all feed off each other. One's good at catching, one's more of a power back, one's more of a blocking back. So I feel like our running back room has come a long way, and I'm going to be excited to watch them this year.
Mr. Siegler, one of yours as well.
Yeah, I'll round it out here. And Tally said it, the all-around back. I think we really haven't had one of those, since Herbert stepped away. And, Tootin may be a little bit better in the passing game than Herbert was during his time in Blacksburg. Don't think he's quite the home run specimen that Herbert was or turned out to be once he was on campus in Blacksburg. But I like the variety of things he does well. So when we talk about being able to break tackles, being able to have some breakaway speed to finish out those long runs, to turn those long runs into touchdowns, that's not something we've seen the last couple of years. So I'm excited to have that attribute back in the backfield again. And especially with him kind of being 1A, 1B in the backfield there with Thomas, I feel like that's a really good 1-2 punch. They both complement each other well, but also when one comes off, you're not necessarily missing a huge piece of a running back skill set either. They more or less have similar attributes. I think with Tootin being probably a little bit better in terms of catching out of the backfield.
Yep, and that's the truth about Tootin being the better catcher out of the backfield. But my guy here was Malachi Thomas. And it was more for the reason of Malachi has been pretty much banged up in his career at numerous points in time. But when he's on the field, he makes an impact. The 3 games he played last year, he only played 3 games, y'all. 237 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns. He was right under 5 yards a carry. His freshman year, he was right at 5 yards a carry with only really 95 plays. So like you just mentioned, it's having the 1A and 1B. And now if Tootin is the starter, which I'm going to presume that's the case, when you take him off, you have someone – think about it. We're going to put Malachi on the field. Go back to the Orr and Humes days. Orr came off, Humes came in. You were still going to get production, right? It wasn't a fall off. And I don't feel like we've had that. I mean, I feel like it's been 12 years. Seriously, I feel like we haven't had where we can take one guy off and immediately say, this guy's going to continue to produce. So I think it's very important Malachi Thomas produces and hopefully stays healthy, having a partner like Bashil Tootin. All righty, let's move over to the offensive line. And Shelton, me and you agreed on the next guy, and that's going to be Parker Clements. What you got on him?
Yeah, so Parker was a guy that really kind of fell off a cliff last year. Again, like Caden Moore, very good freshman season in 2021, but imploded last year. We didn't know it at the time, but he was recovering from off-season surgery, so that was, a main part of it, as well as you're not being exactly the right fit for the scheme. But for me, the reason I chose Parker was mainly because I think he is the biggest bounce back candidate on the team, just because of we know his potential, which we saw in 21 as a freshman. The fact that now he's a junior, he's fully healthy, he's had a full off season in this offense. I think he's going to be a huge piece of rebuilding this offensive line, and obviously playing the right tackle position. That's a spot where obviously you need your big guys to perform. So I'm really looking forward to see him have a bounce back here.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm with you on this one, and it was because of that. Because what we saw in his redshirt freshman year, we saw really good things. And then what happened last year, I mean, we criticized on this program, but when you come to find out he basically could not lift his right arm up, his right arm, right, to block, it's like, well, obviously, if you're an offensive lineman and you don't have the full use of your arm, you're going to be significantly worse. And just the way, his interview looks like he is one of the better leaders on the offensive line. He looks solid in the spring game, and that's what we want. We need a steady Eddie over at right tackle to make some moves, to open some holes up. So that's why I think Parker Clements, and the fact that, like you just said, he is the bounce back candidate. Now, Grayson, you're moving to the middle of the line, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. I'm going Caden Moore here. The center play in Blacksburg, it's been inconsistent, I guess you could say, probably over the last 10 years. We've seen a lot of snaps go really high, go over the quarterback's head. We saw it a few times last season. So just being able to properly snap the ball, I think, is paramount. And now Caden, he's an upperclassman. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. He made 11 starts at right guard last season. It'll be interesting to see, I guess, how he adjusts. But the center play has to be A1 in 2023. Just an instrumental part of our offense. Can't have any high snaps. So probably the most, outside of the left tackle, the most important offensive lineman on the field.
Well, that's funny you should mention left tackle because Brian.
Yeah, my guy's going to be Xavier Chaplin. He's going to be – it's such a big role, the left tackle. So him filling in, being able to protect the quarterback's blind side in this case, being able to move some bodies on the offensive line, being able to create some holes, create some rush lanes for the running backs. He's still a young guy, so – having a young guy step into this role is always some, there's some hesitation there, right? So he's going to be key to me because if he can step in there and take over that role and perform well, that's going to raise the bar across the offensive line. And I think that could really be a big boom because if we can get a running game going, we never really had last year. If we can get the running game going this year, then everything else the offense does is going to be a lot easier.
Yep. And again, I always go back to the Liberty game, Brian. Me and you kind of watched a little bit of it, after the fact. To be his first collegiate game, he was playing a pretty good player at the left end there. And he didn't do bad. He got beat a couple times, but it was like, this doesn't look like his first collegiate game. This really looked like a guy who was coming off an injury and had some rust to knock off. Because there were a couple times he got a hold of people and he just manhandled them because he is a big guy. All right. Last room of the offense, and it's not the tight end room, it's the quarterback room. And myself, Grayson, and Tally, we all are saying Kyron Drones is one of the key players here. Tally, I'm going to let you lead it off. Grayson, you bet second on this one. Go ahead, Tally.
So, I'll say Drones just for the fact of last year, we had Wills as the starting quarterback. And no matter what happened, there was no pressure on him that he was coming out of the game. You had nobody backing him up to put any pressure on him. The coaches didn't even look like they wanted to put pressure on him. So if Wells is the starter, I know we're going to announce soon. If Wells is the starter, I feel like he's probably been pushed in the offseason a little bit more than he has been in any other offseason. And also, he'll have that person behind him that'll be, hey, if you don't go out and perform, because the knock that's been on Wells is him throwing picks or him turning the ball over. So if he turns the ball over, you got to take him out for a series at least and see what you have. Now, on the other hand, Kyron Drones may be the starter. He may be who Pry goes with to start the game or start the season, and he just brings a different dynamic to the football team. He is a little bit bigger guy than Wells is. He can run a little bit better, but we haven't seen a lot of him. So all those things just make me think he's the guy to keep an eye on. What he does is going to, help us in a sense.
I see Steve Bryce's question here, and I think this is a great lead-in for my take, I guess, on Drones is how short is the Grant Wells leash for the first 3 games? I think it's very short. Mm-hmm. I think if he is the starting quarterback and he goes out there against Old Dominion and can't produce and really make a statement in that game, Drones is going to be the next man up. Everything that Tally just said is gospel in the fact that, Grant Wells there was a stark gap between him being the best guy last year and his backup. And now that gap is very small for all we know. But There's not a lot of tape that exists on Drones at Baylor. He did play in 5 games last year. He completed 14 of 23 passes for 219 passing yards, and he had 1 passing touchdown. There is a YouTube video of him, and it shows his ability to scramble and whatnot. And I will say this, if you look on the Baylor message boards and the Baylor fan base, they were devastated when this kid entered the transfer portal. They were like, oh my gosh, Drones is in the portal. The sky is falling. That makes me feel great about him.
Right.
So after 3 games, Drones might be the guy for the rest of the season. There's a very good chance.
Yep. The leash is definitely going to be short there. And to me, what it is, you mentioned the athleticism, how he can make the throws on the run and all that stuff. Those are things that are never seen in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that are never going to be seen in practice. It has to be seen on the field. I love what Pete B said last week from 2 Deep on the big panel. It's 2019 again. You have a returning starter who has a propensity to make really big errors
with a big arm
moments, with a big arm, and you have the unknown backup who is athletic. If you're not live in scrimmages, and I know you can't do that because you can't risk the health of the quarterbacks, right. You have to turn them loose in game. And the question is, you made a good point there, Grayson, about ODU. If he doesn't light it up, but let's say we're up 21, 24, 3, and he's not lighting it up. It's more Tuden and Malachi, and the defense is just crushing. Why not turn him loose? And then if he goes out there and absolutely performs to a much higher level, you might not even be week 2. We might be seeing Drones start there. All right, so tail of the tape real quick for the offensive side of the ball. Brian went Jalen Lane. Brian went Behel Tuten. Brian went Xavier Moore. Shelton's on with Lane, Tuten, and Parker Clements. Tally, Quan Felton, Michelle Tuten, and Kyron Drones. Grayson Ollie Jennings. Caden Moore, the center, and Kyron Drones and myself. Kyron Drones, Parker Clements, and Malik Thomas. I'll do it just like I did last time. Who's your one on the cutting room floor, Brian Siegler?
My one on the cutting room floor.
You know I got to do it too.
Daquan Wright.
Yes, I knew you were going to say All right, Daquan Wright. Tally, who's yours?
So I guess that's tough, man, because we got so much going around. But I'd probably say I don't have a certain person, but the 4th wide receiver. Whoever that 4th wide receiver is. We've heard about Aiden Green. We've heard
Gosnell.
We've heard, well, of course, Gosnell, but the small kid, Turner Bradshaw. Bradshaw.
Yeah. XTB.
Tucker Holloway. We've heard about all these wide receivers that last year in Lofton. What is he going to do? So we know kind of what we have in some of the wide receivers, but how are those guys pushing for playing time going to come in and perform? So short answer is the 4th wide receiver.
4th wide receiver, Grayson.
Bryce Duke.
All right. BDB.
Yep.
Shelton.
I'll go Caden Moore. I think playing that center spot is going to be a big role.
All right. My sort of one I left on the cutting room floor is going to be Benji Gosnell. Benji Gosnell was an elite tight end talent. And, you got Gallo, kind of the entrenched starter. Steady Eddie. Doesn't do anything great. Doesn't do anything bad. You got Wright, the Joker. But Gosnell has that ability. You look at Gallo and you look at Benji Gosnell's size. Gosnell has the chance to be on the field every single play because he's athletic. He can block. He's big. So there are mine. All righty. That was the first half. Before we go to our break here from our digital partners and Mainstream Pharmacy, we're going to let y'all know what we're doing next. We are going to be doing season predictions, breaking it down 4 games at a time. So, Brian, press the break.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
I can probably save you a lot of money, and I can take a lot better care of you. That's pretty much it. My name is Jeremy Counts, and I'm a pharmacist. I own and operate Main Street Pharmacy here in downtown Blacksburg. My brother's a pharmacist, I'm a pharmacist, my uncle's a pharmacist, my dad's a pharmacist. I remember he would give me M&Ms to count in little pill counters. It's just something I've always done, and I'm just lucky that what I know so well is something that I can do and feel good about it and give back to people. Pharmacies are your frontline defense. Pharmacy's job is to make sure you're getting optimal care for the lowest price possible. Also, we take the pressure off of emergency rooms. I'll tell people immediately when they need to go to the doctor, or I'll tell them if they just need a cream over the counter. If there's something that isn't commercially available, if it's something that's not available in a certain strength or a certain form or anything like that, we'll make it. Tailor-made medications. Some of those options save people a lot of money. What motivates me? I get to take care of people and live in Blacksburg. That's all I need.
As we take a quick break, we'd like to tell you about getting your free website report from our digital partner, Grassroots Digital Marketing Studio. They'll tell you how your website ranks on Google, on-site SEO, and social media. No commitment to buy anything. You can get your free report by visiting grassrootsdigitalstudio.com/free-website-report. Now back to the episode.
Alrighty, so now, boys, we got to lay our money on the line here about what we think the Hokie season record will be. Now, here's our caveat. The caveat is the new pieces gel quick and nobody majorly gets hurt or maybe significant numerous injuries. So let's start the first 4 games of the season. They're Old Dominion, Purdue, Rutgers, and Marshall. Shelton, out of the gate, how are we starting?
It'll start 2-2. I think ODU's a win. I think Purdue is a win by the skin of our teeth. Rutgers is a loss. I feel like that's going to be a weird game playing up in that stadium with not a lot of fans. Well, I know there'll a lot of be maroon and orange fans, that's for sure. And then Marshall. The weird thing about the Marshall game is like we are 60-40 underdogs. So it's hard for me to kind of process that. Like if we lose that game, like people think it's some shock, but like we'd be favored to lose. So I don't know. But I think we'll probably lose Marshall and start 2-2. A little bump in the road there, but that's how I see it.
All righty. Brian, what do you see?
I'm going 3-1 here. I'm going to take Dubs to open the season at home. I think we're going to get a weird loss up in Piscataway, New Jersey to the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Their defense kind of keeps us a little bit in check there, and it gets a little awkward. I think we pull a little bit of an upset in Marshall. I think that's going to be a big statement game, as weird as that sounds, going on the road and taking care of Marshall. That's a solid program out there. You're playing at their place. If you can pull that one out, that's a pretty solid win. So I think we pull that one out and wrap up that first 4 3-1.
All right, he's going 3-1. Tally?
Yep, I got my schedule with my little notches on it here. You know how everybody makes those, and I've had it at 3-1 for a while. So Old Dominion a win, Purdue a win, Rutgers a loss, and Marshall a win. I don't know why everybody wants us to lose to Rutgers. I don't know why I'm got us down to lose. I really want to go 4-0, but it's like my PTSD won't let me choose that. So that's why I'm at 3-1 for that first 4 games.
All right, Grayson, what about you, man?
Starting the season 3-1, Old Dominion, emphatic win in Lane Stadium. It better freaking be. Purdue, I'm going to say we're going to win that one as well at home. I'm in the same camp as Shelton by the hair on our chinny chin. Rutgers, I think we're going to get a win in Jersey. A lot of Hokies going to that one. And then Marshall, I think it's going to be a punishment game. I think we're going to lose to Marshall just for the sole purpose of us traveling there, which should never, ever have happened or been orchestrated.
This is what you have wrought.
We will reap what we sow, and like Old Dominion last year, we'll go there and lose. So, don't feel great about Marshall. I don't love the optics of that whole situation at all.
All right, so we got 2-2, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Me and Thomas Train are 100% together on this. We're going 4-0. We're going 4-0. We're going to smoke ODU.
Curtis said it. He said it.
Hey, Curtis has the Kool-Aid in hand.
No, I got the maroon and orange glasses and hat on tonight. 4-0. And here's why. ODU, I do think we smoked them. They are a shitty team. We're gonna so shitty that next week I can't even really get a preview together because they are that bad. I can't find anything written. I can't find data on them. If anybody has any, please email me. I think Purdue, the rebuild, especially along their defensive line, is huge. They are losing 4 key players, not coming back, a turnover to a new style of offense and a new quarterback there. And then Rutgers is – I go to Brett's preview. Rutgers is below us on Brett's preview. Got to be that. And here's the thing. Everybody's scared of Marshall. They were 9-4 last year. Man, they're doing all this big stuff. I have a question. Where's their 1,500-yard rusher right now? Anybody know where he is?
No.
Khalil Lever got cut by the San Francisco 49ers just earlier this week. They don't have a 1,500-yard rusher. They struggled at quarterback. They barely got 1,500 yards passing last year, 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. They do have a good defense. I think that will be the toughest of the 4 games, but we will come out by the hair of our chinny chin chin. So that's where I'm at. All right, let's flip to the middle part of the season. One of the rougher stretches. We're talking Pitt, Florida State, Wake, and Syracuse. And I'm going to let you lead this one, Brian.
We are going 2-2 in this stretch.
All right.
I'm thinking we're taking losses to Pitt, FSU. I'm hoping that Pitt is a dogfight battle. I don't want to be embarrassed by fucking Pitt anymore. That's like, there's nothing worse than losing in blowout fashion to the Pittsburgh Panthers. It pisses me off. Florida State, I want to be competitive. I want to be competitive for 4 quarters. They're probably one of the at least probably 8 best teams in the country. You could argue they're one of the 4 best teams in the country. I want to see us put 4 quarters together against them and give them all they want. I think Wake has lost too much to be competitive this year. I think they're going to be maybe a 5-win team this year. I think they are a beatable team. I think, losing their quarterback, losing 2 of their best wide receivers, I don't think they have the juice to score enough points to beat us this year. And then Syracuse, they're replacing a big-time running back. They were already kind of a middling team that would lose some head scratchers, then occasionally pop up and beat a team you don't expect. I think they're definitely ripe for a loss there on Thursday night. So give me 2-2.
Tally, what about you for those middle stretch of the season?
Yeah, I had it right at 2-2 as well. Exactly what Brian had. Lost to Pitt, lost to I seen Pete put that on there. Lost to Pitt, lost to Florida State, win against Wake Forest, win against Syracuse. Now, I know we still got to finish this, but I'm thinking, and I got too much going on in my head because I was so close to going 4-0. But if I go 4-0, then I start doing too much in my mind and I get too excited because I feel like if we're 4-0 and then we play Pitt, then we beat Pitt at home. Because every game that we play Pitt for the most part is a dogfight. Even last year, it was for us to be so bad, like besides a couple of plays, we were with Pitt until the 4th quarter. I think it was like 39-29 or 31-29, something like that, maybe 33-29. So I feel like if we're 4-0 and we beat Pitt, and we play Pitt, we beat them, and then you go into the Florida State game undefeated. See, I can't even.
Tally gonna talk himself into 12-0 if he don't.
I can't even wrap my head around being like that because I'm a Virginia Tech fan. So I'm gonna just stay calm and say 2-2. I'm gonna say right where I'm at. But all that stuff is going on in my mind, and I really wish Curtis had. And some of you guys over here in the comments, fuck you. I wish you hadn't said 4-0 because you get my brain to working, and then I start staying up all night and looking at clips. But go ahead.
Tally going full Truett Harris on us here. Shout out Truett.
He truly is. He is. All right, Shelton, what about you in the middle portion here?
Pittsburgh, last 3 years, Virginia Tech has been outscored by Pitt by 70 points. Last 3 games since we beat them in 2019. I want to beat them bad, but it's just a bad matchup. I never feel good about that game, especially if their QB's clicking. That's an L. Florida State's an L. But young team bounces back, finds a way to win against Wake Forest. and takes care of business against Syracuse, who loses both their top coordinators and their top RB. Get back to even at 4-4.
All right. Grayson's got us 4-4 through the first 8 games. What about Grayson Wimbish?
I mean, we're kind of all on the same page here. The biggest op on this schedule, the Pittsburgh Panthers, Pat Narduzzi can kick all the rocks. That dude sucks. We're going to lose that game. They're probably going to kick our ass. They're just better than we are. That sucks, but it's also the truth. Florida State, we're going to lose, but that game I feel like is just going to be must-see television. I feel like that's going to be a very the Nielsen ratings are going to be very high. A lot of people are going to tune into that football game. And for bragging rights, I got some Knoll friends out here in Los Angeles who I'd love to talk that shit to. Wake Forest, I think it was Tally who said it. They lost too much to be competitive, and that game's at home. So
Homecoming.
Homecoming. So I feel good about that. And then Syracuse, come on, gentlemen. Thursday night, get the hell out of town. It's going to be 1999 vibes up in there. Let's beat them 62-0. It'd be crazy.
Hell yes.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, Thursday night in Blacksburg. That place, Lane's going to be rocking. We're leaving there with a W.
All righty. All right, so I'm coming back to earth now. So I'm going to take the hat off and the maroon glasses and the orange glasses off.
Oh, shit.
I'm coming back to earth. We're going 2-2 in this stretch. But unlike all of y'all, we are going to beat Pitt in Lane Stadium. We're going to beat Pitt. Jerkovich is 1-2 versus the Hokies in his career. The defense for Pat Narduzzi will regress. They will be a top 60 defense, not a top 20 defense. We will lose to Florida State. I think we will be competitive, but I think that game is going to essentially doom us for Wake Forest. It's going to be the first time we lose all year. We're going to come back the next week, not play a good Wake team, but we know Wake is well coached. Regardless, you can crap on Dave Clawson all you want. He's going to have them prepared. I think we're going to come over. It's going to be a hangover game. We're going to lose that game. Then we're going to get a 10-day break. We're going to get a head right, and we are going to smash Syracuse. Sheldon, you said it earlier. Sean Tucker's about to be the number 1 running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He literally was their offense the last few years. When he went, they went. When he didn't, they lost. He's no longer on that team. So get me 2-2 for the middle stretch of the season heading into November. We got BC, we got Louisville, we got NC State, and we got UVA. Who we leading here? Tally, you get to lead this one because you're actually traveling to one of these games. He is heading to Louisville in November.
Yeah, supposed to be going to Louisville. I already got my room booked. I may not make it to the game because I'm probably going to be doing that Bourbon Trail, and that will not fare too well. But anyway, so I got us actually losing to Louisville. Got us losing to Louisville. I got us beating Boston College. I got us losing to North Carolina State, and then, of course, beating Virginia.
All righty. Grayson, you go next. What do you got here?
Boston College and Chestnut Hill in the cold. Don't like the optics of that. I think the Eagles get us. We're going to lose that game. Louisville, I don't like that one either. I just think I think the front half of the season, we're going to come out guns blazing, but in the back half, we're going to realize, we still are a growing team and we might gas out a little bit. So don't love the game in Louisville either. I think the Cardinals get that one. And then Brennan Armstrong, North Carolina State, the Wolfpack, with him at QB, I don't like that one either. I think that the Wolfpack beats us at home, and then we're going to beat UVA. UVA they're in a tough spot. I don't know what they're doing over there in Charlottesville, but Coach Tony Elliott is it looks like he's having a hard time. But I think that game should be an emphatic win in Charlottesville. I wish it were in Blacksburg, but obviously with the tragedy last year, very, very sad. But travel back to Charlottesville and get a big dub.
There we go. Sheldon, what about you, the last 4 of the season?
Yep, so I'm going 2-2. I'll take actually, I didn't think about this one. I don't – okay, I'm not going to predict the Eagles game outcomes. I'm just saying 2-2. Like, I know in my brain in my brain what this team's record will be. I think they'll definitely beat UVA, though. The thing about UVA is they were worse than us last year, which is kind of hard to do. Their offense, their offense, it was kind of inverted from the previous year where they fell off a cliff offensively, much better defensively, though. They lose some key defensive pieces. This is a clear rebuilding team. They're starting a Monmouth transfer at QB. I think this is a win for VT, and we'll keep that cup for at least another year.
Brian?
I'm going 2-2 down the stretch here. I like us against Boston College, even in the cold up there in Chestnut Hill. I don't like us at Louisville. NC State's going to be a loss, and then we take care of business at UVA. We close it out with a W. Tony Elliott right now has the opposite of what juice is. Whatever the opposite of juice is, that's what's going on in Charlottesville right now.
It's doo-doo.
Yeah, I mean it's like he can't seem to get out of his own way. The recruiting's in the shitter. They lost probably all their best defenders are playing on another team this year from last year. So, we talked about how much of a flip that the defense did last year. I don't think you're going to see that carry over into 2023. And they lost some key pieces on offense. They're bringing in a transfer quarterback from Monmouth. Apparently, he's being pushed by a true freshman in fall camp. So I don't know if that is an indictment on their transfer quarterback or a big boost to their true freshman, but it's probably not the best optics for a team that's trying to put something together after how much they lost. So I like 2-2 here. Win at BC, 2 L's at Louisville and NC State, and then a big W there to close it out at UVA.
All right. I'm going to take the Shelton route on this, boys. We're 2-2. I have not went crazy again and brought the hat and brought the glasses back out. We're 2-2. But I'm going to predict just one of the 2 victories. We're going to be UVA. The other 3 games, I think you look at those 3, and I like what somebody said here. Thomas, I'm going to bring you back in because me and you are on this. NC State does sort of play like shit when they get numbers next to their game. See 2022 when they damn near lost to us. So the other 3 games, I can't throw a dart at right now, but I can see us getting at least one of those 2 games. But definitely UVA, and I got a feeling UVA, it might be a bad beatdown. Brian, we might have to get in the car that Saturday and drive up there because there will be tickets for like nickels. Honest to God truth.
I'm down. I'll stand on the hill and yell at some people like I did back in '99.
There you go. All right, let's do a quick tail of the tape. Shelton, 6-6. He has us bowling. Brian, Tally, Grayson, 7-5. And yes, I am the optimistic Hokie at 8-4 in this panel. Now I'm going to remove the caveat. Let's say some things don't go right. Real quick, and I'll start with this one. I think the floor for this team is 5. I think ODU, I think Rutgers are definites. And I can see at least getting 3 more wins with the remaining other teams. Who wants to go first?
I will say I did have 6-6. Just to be clear, that's at least what I have. Or maybe
no, you went 3-1 to begin with.
You're right. Okay.
7-5.
Never mind. I'm with you, Curtis. I think the floor is 5 games. It kind of has to be 5 games.
Yeah.
You have to win at least 2 more than you did last year. I think if we can't get wins over ODU, Purdue, Rutgers, at least one ACC team, and UVA on Thanksgiving weekend, that's a problem. If you can't get that, that's an issue. And so, yeah, there's your floor. But, you got to win more than 3 and you got to win more than 4.
Yeah, I agree. I'm same way. I think the floor is 5 games, which is crazy because I want to ask a question, but I'm going to wait till everybody goes here. But I'll say the floor has to be 5 from just looking at the schedule and games.
All right.
Yeah, I think you can't really come out with the schedule we have, with some of the matchups that we have right out the gate. It's got to be 5. I'm with everybody else here. You need to at least be 2-2 in those first 4. You need to at least win, 2 ACC games, and you got to go ahead and kick the shit out of UVA. I think if you can get there, I think that's a little bit something to build off of. That's kind of the minimum baseline to build off of. If we're below that, you're going to start hearing some conversations, and fair or unfair, it's just that's the nature of the beast, man. When you win 3 games, and if you turn it around with 4 or fewer year 2, there's gonna be some commentary. But I'm hoping we get 5. I hope we make a bowl, but I think 5 is the floor for this team.
Sheldon?
5 is definitely the floor. If you look at last year, there's a stat that basically looks at what they call post-game win expectancy. So you just look at team stats, how likely would they have been to win all their games? Tech was actually one of the unluckiest teams in the country last year. I think they underperformed by 1.5 wins. So they really should have been at 4.5-ish, somewhere around there. Now you might say, okay, that's because of bad coaching. But you figure this year, you're starting from 4.5 last year. Better coaching, better players. They know the system better. It would be really, really hard for this team not to win 5 games. I think, especially if, you figure that luck hopefully improves this year. They would need some pretty atrocious luck to win 4 games or less, in my opinion. And that'd be a pretty disappointing season if they did. So I'll go 5-win floor.
Got it. All right. Tally, you said you had something you wanted to ask each of us. Go right ahead.
Yeah, so just looking at stuff, man, and getting ready for football and being an idiot. If we are 5-0 with 2 blowout wins going into playing Florida State, are we ranked? Is that a ranked matchup? I mean, and they're undefeated as well.
Yeah, that's ranked. Yeah, we're ranked. If we're 5-0 and we beat Pitt, we're ranked, because there's going to be obviously there'll be fallout from other parts. So yeah, I think we'll be in the top 25, maybe at the low end.
I think they would do that. Polls are me and Curtis. I had this big problem with preseason polls, but I think the way preseason polls work, and I think the way when people look at matchups, if we're undefeated heading into that game, there's going to be a lot of people that will want to put us in the top 25 solely for that matchup.
And that's why I asked the question, because I'm thinking
that had the trigger.
For the narrative, it's better if we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would actually. I do think we would be ranked. I will say though, I take issue. There's a narrative that preseason polls are kind of bogus. I've actually seen some research showing that preseason polls are actually more accurate, at least in college basketball, than the in-season polls. And I think it's because the pollsters before the season tend to look at essentially they're just projecting who the best teams will be based on returning production. Stats from last year, et cetera, et cetera. But once the season starts, it becomes essentially a popularity contest, just like win-loss record and, who's hot. So, yeah, I don't think preseason polls are all that bad. But, definitely if Tech starts winning games, they're going to shoot up the rankings, because that's kind of what the AP poll is all about.
See, I think with football, it's worse because everything based on the preseason poll determines how people vote in subsequent polls. And and unlike college basketball, you don't have, months and months of polls to deal with relative to the originals. So it probably biases the polls a little bit more than it would in college basketball. But to your point, when those in-season polls are taking place, you're bringing in a lot of recency bias of what we saw, in that last week's game. So that's definitely probably pulling a lot more weight than it probably should sometimes.
All right, well, we've got some other questions we're going to throw up here and let everybody answer them. Pete B., our buddy over at 2 Deep, how many wins does Pry need to win the ACC Coach of the Year? Whoever wants to take that one first.
8.
8 wins, and you better win the bowl too, but definitely 8 wins. That's what, listen, again, I told y'all have me, my mind is nuts over here because y'all freaking let people put stuff out before the season that don't have shit to do with the season. You let them put that little thing out, and everybody's thinking about how far we're behind, how we're running like a mom and pop. Pry, you're doing a great job. What you did was you got them to put that out, and then you're going to go out here and you're going to win 8 or 9 games, and then you're going to win the Coach of the Year. Dude, I understand what he's doing. That's why that article came out at this time.
Chestnut checkers, right?
It's chestnut checkers, man. Hey,
Tally just
8
said,
wins.
I was not familiar with your game, Coach Pro. We'll see.
8 or
tell you-
9. I think it's got to be 9 because I think with the way FSU's set up this year, I think FSU is set up to win 11 or 12 games. And if
he could win it with 8 if FSU has 2 losses.
if
I think
FSU,
FSU's going to start the season 2-2 myself, honestly.
Ooh, he got
That's
them
just
losing
me.
LSU.
Yeah.
Sheldon,
And
what's your
Clemson.
take on this?
Let's Shelton finish here, and then we'll throw one more on the board before we wrap up here.
Yeah, I feel like it depends on as long as Clemson doesn't win the ACC. If Clemson doesn't win the ACC, I would lean more towards 9. If they do win it, I definitely think 8 could do it just because, Clemson would be expected to win the conference, obviously, if we're to say expected to win 10 games. So I feel like Virginia Tech, a 5-win improvement, that's pretty insane. So, yeah.
That is pretty insane. That's a great point to make. All right, we got one more question from our buddy Clark. I think we got to pull the website up to do this. So I'm gonna get the easy one out of the way first. First of all, you get to choose one uniform combination for the game this season. What game and what you wearing? Tally, go ahead.
It's the orange effect. Fucking wear orange. It's pretty easy. If you're playing Purdue and it's the orange effect, orange helmets, orange jersey, orange pants, as much orange as you can get. Put that shit on and let's go.
Orange everything.
I want orange
everything. Purdue.
Everything.
Grayson?
Thursday night Syracuse game. Give me the maroon helmet with the white face mask, maroon top, white pants, and white cleats.
Ooh.
Yep.
Sheldon?
So I'm going to go white top. I'll go maroon pants, white helmet with the black stripe down the middle. And we're also going to wear leather helmets because this is 1920s. I'm going 1920s throwback.
Pretty good.
That was a good one.
The setup was perfect there. The setup was perfect. I love it.
Siegler?
Oh, man. Let me go Thursday night against Syracuse, and we're bringing back the Nike Pro Combat Blacks.
That's a tough one.
Do we have a black alternate? Have y'all seen the pants in practice? Like the black?
Yeah.
It's from the
Charcoal
Hokie
gray.
Stone. It's from the Hokie Stone. Yeah,
Gotcha.
we still got a full set of those out there that we don't wear.
Great.
All right. I'm going to go with kind of Tally on this, except I'm going to put one caveat. Purdue game, orange pants, orange jersey, white helmet, orange VT logo inside it. That's what I'm going with here.
Yeah.
But we do need, listen, the Pro Combat uniforms, please bring them back. Literally some of the best jerseys we ever had. It was such a great look.
The old alumni hate those jerseys.
That's
They hate
crazy
it
to
so
me.
much. Oh yeah.
Is it because they're tying it to the Boise State loss, or is it just because they hate?
They
they
hate
hate
fun
fun.
things. They're the same people who got rid of Stick It In. They don't like fun things. So
They don't like fun things.
yeah, I said what I said.
All righty. Is anything breaking? We went right under 2 hours. Boys.
We don't have a quarterback announcement yet, but that's probably coming soon.
Yeah, we Coach Fry has a press conference tomorrow. I thought it was Tuesday. It's moved to Wednesday. Shout out David Cunningham because David Cunningham told me that it was going to be Wednesday this week, not Tuesday. Unfortunately, I do think. How about that? Do we get the announcement tomorrow? Quarterback.
I feel like you got to. I feel like it's that time. You got a week, 2 weeks to game. I mean, it's time for somebody to get all the reps. I feel like you got to come out and go ahead and tell us, or not tell us, but tell the team. I mean, they need to know more.
Tell the team so we know too, because we're important here too.
Yeah, it's going to come down.
Inquiring minds.
All right. Well, boys, that is going to wrap up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast brought to you by Main Street Pharmacy in Blacksburg. We appreciate our guest, Grayson Wimbish, joining us from the left coast in California. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
I am Shelton Moss.
Visit our website, boundarycornervt.com. Listen to all of our episodes. Also, check out the merchandise shop there as well at the Boundary Corner store. While you're there, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube account, which a bunch of y'all are watching tonight. We appreciate that big time. And your favorite podcast source, including Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. We let Jason Long play us out all the time. Check out his website, jasonlongmusic.com. It takes you to his music on Apple, Spotify, his YouTube, and Facebook pages. Check his album, The Covers EP, out with the Midnight Rider cover, which is pretty freaking awesome. We thank you, as always, for listening, and let's go.
Hokies!